Every morning she walked past the same people. Every morning they saw her, but never truly looked. Her feet were bruised, her steps slow, but her spirit unbroken. She never complained, never begged. Until one day, someone finally stopped walking past her. 8-year-old Amina lived in a small village where the sun rose early, painting the muddy roads gold. Every morning, before the birds even began to sing, she would carefully fold her worn-out uniform, smooth out its wrinkles, and put it on with pride. It was the only school uniform she had, passed down from her older sister, with patches sewn lovingly by her mother. But there was one thing she didn't have: shoes. Her slippers had torn months ago. The straps broke on her way back from school, and she had to walk home barefoot through stones and thorns. That day she came home with bleeding feet, but when her mother cried and apologized, Amina simply smiled and said, "It's okay, Mama. Feet are strong." And so, since that day, she walked barefoot to school, every single morning. The road to school was not easy. It was rough, filled with gravel and broken glass from careless passers-by. In the summer, the ground burned like fire beneath her feet. In winter, it was freezing cold and wet from rain. But Amina never stopped. She would hold her books tightly against her chest and whisper to herself, "One more step, just one more." She loved school more than anything. She loved the smell of chalk, the sound of the blackboard, and the way her teacher told stories that filled her heart with dreams. While other children ran during recess, she would sit quietly under a tree, cleaning her feet with a leaf before entering the classroom again. She didn't want to dirty the floor. Some children giggled at her, some pointed at her feet, some whispered, "She's too poor to buy shoes." But Amina never replied. She simply smiled and focused on her books. She believed that one day education would be her shoes, carrying her far away from hardship. Every evening she returned home the same way, slowly, silently, carefully. Her mother would wash her feet with warm water and apply turmeric paste to heal the cuts. Amina would wince, but she never cried. She didn't want her mother to feel guilty. People saw her every day: villagers, shopkeepers, students with polished shoes and shiny bags. They noticed her, but they didn't really see her. They assumed she was fine. They assumed she was used to it. But no one ever asked her if she was okay, until one morning, when someone finally did. It was a cold, rainy day. Dark clouds covered the sky, and the village road turned into slippery mud. Amina wrapped her books in a plastic bag to protect them from the rain. She covered her head with her small dupatta and continued walking. But that day was harder than usual. The road was filled with sharp stones washed out by the rain. She stepped on one, and a sudden, sharp pain shot through her foot. She stumbled but didn't stop. She tried to ignore it, but blood started mixing with the muddy water beneath her. She bit her lip to stop herself from crying. Halfway to school, a group of boys passed by on bicycles. They laughed as they rode past her, splashing muddy water on her clothes. One of them shouted, "Hey, Barefoot Princess." They all burst into laughter and sped away. Amina stood there, drenched, shivering. For the first time, she felt small. She reached school late. As she entered the classroom, wet and muddy, some students laughed again. Even the teacher looked at her with disappointment. "You're late again, Amina," the teacher said. "I'm sorry, miss. The road," she tried to explain. "Excuses won't help you in life." The teacher interrupted. The class went silent. Amina lowered her head and walked slowly to her seat. That day she couldn't focus. Her feet were throbbing with pain. She felt every heartbeat inside her wounds. She placed her feet carefully behind the desk so no one could see. During lunch break, she didn't go outside. She sat silently, her eyes fixed on her books, but she wasn't reading. She was questioning. Why am I the only one like this? Why does no one care? Do I really belong here? When school ended, she didn't want to walk back home. She stood near the school gate, staring at her feet. That's when she heard a gentle voice. "Why aren't you wearing shoes?" Amina looked up. A woman stood before her, someone she had never seen before. She was dressed simply, holding an umbrella. Her eyes were soft, filled with concern. Amina didn't know what to say. She simply whispered, "I don't have any." The woman knelt down slowly, so she was at Amina's eye level. She looked at her feet, muddy, bruised, bleeding. Without saying another word, she gently placed her umbrella aside. took out a napkin from her bag and began wiping Amina's feet. Amina froze. No one had ever done that for her outside her home. The woman didn't care about the mud or the blood. She wiped her feet like a mother would clean her child's tears. "What's your name?" she asked softly. "Amina." "And do you like school?" Amina nodded. "Then you should walk with pride." The woman smiled gently, not pain. The next day, Amina woke up early, expecting another barefoot walk to school. But as she stepped outside, she froze. There, at her doorstep, was the box. A brand new pair of shoes, shiny black school shoes wrapped in clear plastic. On top of it was a note, for Amina, from someone who finally saw you. Tears filled her eyes. She put them on carefully. They fit perfectly, like they were made just for her. She walked to school that day not slowly, not painfully, but proudly. When she entered the classroom, everyone noticed. The same boys who laughed at her stared silently. Even the teacher paused. For the first time, Amina didn't lower her head. She smiled, and at the school gate, the woman stood again, watching her with pride. Amina ran to her and hugged her tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. The woman stroked her hair. "Promise me one thing," she said. "One day when you see someone walking barefoot, don't walk past them." Amina nodded firmly. "I won't. Kindness doesn't need grand gestures. Sometimes it's as small as noticing someone's pain. One act of love can heal years of silence. Be the person who sees, not just the one who looks, because you never know. Your kindness might be someone's first pair of shoes."